Another day in the garden, the flower garden anyway. I have been working on my vegetable garden. I started a lot of plants in the spring. Unfortunately, I lost a lot of plants in the spring in my greenhouse. I had gone away for a week to visit my son and grandsons, and the hot sun was just too much for them. I came home to a lot of plants that burned up. So now when I leave, I not only need a pet sitter, I need a plant sitter. It's a disadvantage of a greenhouse, so you don't get rain. But there's advantages. This is my one red rose bush, which I said earlier would be full of blooms. And it is. I've never been real lucky with rose bushes. This is one of two that have survived. This must be about 30 years old. It's been really doing well the last few years. Perhaps I figured it out. I should have gotten pictures of the foxglove a week ago when they were in full bloom. This is a new addition. Finally got a potted plant for my little hanger. The hosta's doing good. And this little one is actually blooming. I hope it fills out more. It does have a pretty leaf. I was working on wood chips. I started wood chips last year for weed control. So I used the cardboard and then simply load it up with wood chips, and I try to get at least 4 inches. They pack down once you put them down, once it rains. But they do a good job with the weeds. Getting over to the side garden of my house. See, the lamb's ear are abuzz with bumblebees. I haven't gotten back to pull those weeds in the back along the wall. My legs are unsteady, and to get back there is not always the easiest job, but eventually I will. They're the pokers. They're almost done blooming. I have a few throughout the yard. I'll have to show you the other bunch, which is in full bloom. This one's about done. This is the other rose bush that has survived. I just cut off a lot of blooms. It had about 10 blooms on it. It'll bloom again, whereas the red one doesn't bloom anymore this year. As you can see, some hostas back in there. I will actually fill that extra space with vegetables. Actually, I did plant 2 tomatoes back there. And there's also some peppers growing. I found that interspersing vegetables with the flowers seems to work out really well for both. And I must tackle the rhododendron and trim it back now that it's bloomed. I must do that within the next few days. I love sharing the video and sharing my flowers. I only wish I could share the fragrance of honeysuckle. My whole yard just smells so sweet right now. A few weeks ago, it was smelling of the wild roses that grow down over the bank along the stream that runs by my house. This old stump, so many people have wanted to come in and cut it down for me, and I insisted on leaving it there, not only for the honeysuckle, but for the many woodpeckers that come and enjoy what's left of it and the bugs inside. Eventually, it'll go. It's been there for more years than I thought it would stand. I had a few of the pileated woodpeckers come and work on it. And every year there's a pair of bluebirds that come to check it out to build their nests, but it just isn't waterproof anymore. So they don't stay there very long. But the honeysuckle just smells so good. It is my favorite fragrance. And another ground cover, Lamium, just started with a couple little cuttings that my friend gave me. The flamingos seem to enjoy it. These are remnants from a yard sale I just had, an ironing board and a headboard. I am looking to repurpose them. I'm thinking the ironing board, I want to make one of those garden ladies out of her. We'll see how that goes. Oh, it smells so good. The spirea are in bloom as well. At least this one is. The others, I have 3, 4. There's a couple that aren't open yet, but they all have buds on them. Once they're done blooming, I'll trim them back and they'll bloom again. Okay, these are a couple plants I have yet to plant. Just got raspberry bushes. I think I'm going to put them in large containers. And some lavender and geraniums. A couple more vegetables to put out. There's another poker. And Johnny jump ups. They're so much fun. They just pop up in the most unexpected places. One year I had so many, they were like a ground cover. And then I didn't after that. And now they're showing their faces again. So I hope they spread more seed. Probably next week the daylilies will be blooming. But the happy faces of the Johnny jump ups just make me smile. Got to work on that old carriage. I like repurposing and redoing things, and I painted that a few years, well, I guess it's been more than a few years back, but it's due. I usually put a plan in it, but I took it out with the anticipation of painting it. Little garden sculpture. It's another spirea, and surprisingly, the flower has changed on this. There's, it's not all pink. It has that dark pink and almost white to the flower, and I really like it. This is my greenhouse. It's a work in progress. I took the plastic off it after 4 years, and because this section of the greenhouse just got too hot, even for my plants. So now I put wire up on it, and I'm hoping to grow vines on it. So I planted some cucumbers and what else did I? Beans. I'm not sure. They don't seem to be coming up. I might plant some actual seedlings that I have growing already. This is the the garden outside, daylilies and some black-eyed Susans. My oregano and some mugwort has snuck in there and growing. Little potted plants. And I love daisies. So I've let them grow in this area. And I try to cut them before they go to seed so they don't take over too much. But, yeah, this is the back of my yard. I have a peach tree growing in a pot. And I'm going to work on keeping it small. We'll see how that goes. If it doesn't look like it really likes the pot, I will transplant it. But again, the daisies. That's a totem that I made. That bed I have to add some more compost to it. Years ago, a guy sold me some soil which really wasn't that great of a soil. He thought it was topsoil. It was far from it. Very sandy and clay. So I keep on working on it. That was going to be my strawberry bed, but I think I might put raspberries in it. Time will tell. Okay, one of my garden beds. This is Swiss chard. I'm letting go to seed so I can collect the seed. It actually overwintered here in northeast Pennsylvania, surprisingly. I have some garlic growing. Some more tomatoes and peppers. This bed I'm letting rest. I have some lettuce that I'm thinking of putting between the beds so vegetables can grow vertically, such as cucumbers and beans and whatnot. And here I do have some zucchini and muskmelons. More foxglove. I do love them, so I don't really mind them spreading. Lemon balm, which I need to harvest. And I have basil coming up in these tires. And chives, I believe I stuck in there. I had some extra packets of seeds, so I just threw them in, see what they're going to do. More peppers. And I believe I planted beans to grow up on the lattice. And I have some eggplant. A tomato that decided to sprout from last year. But that's the back of the yard. I have a grapevine growing over there. I have some new raised beds. That will be a first for me. I got them last year and started filling them. I still have a ways to go, but I thought, well, I'll plant something in it for this year. And as you can see, I use grass clippings a lot. Before the wood chips, that's what I use to control weeds. These are 2 raspberry bushes. I may need to dig them up as I add more soil. I planted some cucumbers along the edge there. I'm hoping to have a wire to go loop around these 2 beds for the cucumbers to climb up on. And I have broccoli growing over here. And again, some freebie tomatoes. What kind they are, time will tell. But adding compost to these raised beds Tomatoes always seem to sprout up. So, and I'm growing sweet potatoes for the very first time, so we'll see how that goes. And again, I still need to add some more soil to this bed. And what I'll do is use a combination of compost. I might get a couple bags of garden soil, depending how much I need. I have the bottom layer is actually wood chips, so I don't have to use a whole lot of soil to fill this. Everything will decompose and feed whatever I'm planting. There's lots of grape buds. I really need to work on this. I haven't been really successful with the grapes. I'll get grapes, but I also get black rot. So this year I did get a spray for that fungus. We'll see how that goes this year. Here's another raspberry bush I have growing in a tire. Looks like I'll have pretty much. I have to get some netting to put over the bushes. And what I found is that if you use, go to a fabric shop and buy a bolt of, what do they call that, toil? That netting that's used in ballerina tutus. I think it's pronounced toil, Toille. Serves as a good netting for bugs. This is my compost pile. I keep it going. I turn it maybe just once a year, usually at the beginning of the spring. Then I start another one. So when one is done, I put what isn't finished over to the new pile. And by the next spring, I have more compost. It's worked for me. This is the back of the greenhouse. I do have tomatoes growing pretty nicely. These are my favorite tomatoes. It's a Rutgers. It's an heirloom variety. They do very well. They are indeterminate, so as they grow, I will put up on the hoops of the greenhouse and let them grow over. I do have a nice crop of kale growing, which I use for my smoothies, and also give a lot to my sons. This is a netting, the tool I was talking about. I have this over this section. It seems to be working pretty good because I usually get cabbage moths. Though these are doing pretty good too. The moths do find their way into the greenhouse. Okay, and then the front. I still have to do some cleaning in here. I have a brandywine tomato growing here, which is doing really well. It's also an heirloom, and I have onions growing. And there's 2 pepper plants I have in here. Planted peas, but they didn't really do well. You know, my hope was that they'd be growing up on the lattice too. And the peppers. There's another totem I made. These are mostly wildflowers, asters and bachelor buttons. Do have, not sure what these are, the little purple ones. I have a potato vine in there. So that's about it for the garden. Have some sedum growing in there. I have to dig that out and separate it. And the mint, I just harvested some this morning for mint infused water. I'm gonna cut some down for drying later today, or maybe tomorrow morning. I think we missed the peonies last week. They were at their best last week. Yeah, the other two bushes are done. This one's still blooming. And if you listen, you can hear the house wren. She's alerting. They've been feeding their babies continuously throughout the day. But if you hear that little chatter from the wren, that's their alarm sound. Usually when the cats are in the yard. Not so much for me, but it seems like I'm bothering them today. Sorry, wrens. Just talking about how well you take care of your babies. Now listen, you hear the babies? There they go. I guess in another week they'll probably start fledging. And I'll have to gather my cats, if I can, and keep them in the basement for a week until they're on their way. At least that's my plan. I'm not sure how it's going to work out. Just wish me well. I wish the birds well. Okay. Take care, everyone. Hope you enjoyed.